Hal, let me ask you this question. As a matter of fact, let me introduce it this way. You say that we are wrong to be looking at the AIG situation in terms of what was and wasn't disclosed about the payments made to Goldman Sachs, Societe Generale, Merrill Lynch, and others as concerns credit default swaps. Tell us why.
Well, I'm not saying we're wrong on looking at it, but that's really not the major issue. The major issue is, why do we give AIG $85 billion in the first place, some of which they used to make payments? And I think we're all entitled, that is, the American public is entitled, to a complete explanation from not only Secretary Geithner but Ben Bernanke as to why we did this.
But you've even said in the past, Professor, that you don't think that Geithner should really be in the hot seat about this.
Well, I think he should be in the hot seat about why we gave them the $85 billion. I think it's rather a minor issue, though important, about the emails relating to payments. That's secondary. The question is, why did we give them the money in the first place? And we have not gotten a complete explanation of that.
Hal, aren't we at the end of the day talking about the same thing in a manner of speaking, which is to say lack of disclosure? Isn't it possible that people get all fired up about AIG and these emails because they are fundamentally upset about the lack of access to information? In full disclosure here, Bloomberg has sued the Federal Reserve for access to more information about the bailout measures that it has taken over the course of the past 18 months.
You're absolutely correct. In fact, I do not think that Ben Bernanke should be confirmed by the Senate until we have a complete, documented explanation of why we gave $85 billion to AIG. I mean, a recent report suggests it wasn't to protect counterparties like Goldman, who had more than enough collateral. So why did we give them $85 billion?
So what is your best guess on that then, Professor?
I have no idea. The report says that it was out of concern for significant investors, like pension funds. But if that's the reason we're bailing out AIG, then we bail out every large corporation in America that might fail, and obviously we shouldn't be doing that.
Hal, do you give any credence to the conspiracy theory, as it were, advanced most recently by Hank Greenberg in the Wall Street Journal this weekend, that at the end of the day, it was Goldman Sachs effectively pulling the levers and tugging on the strings behind the scenes?
No, I don't give any credence to that at all, and I don't think there's any evidence for it.
All right, but then let's talk about Tim Geithner. The question you're raising and the one that everybody else is raising is, why did we need to give AIG all that money, only to see some $13 billion of it funneled to Goldman Sachs, and of course other money was given to other firms? Should Tim Geithner not be made to answer for his decision ultimately, because it was the New York Fed that directed those payments to make everybody whole at 100 cents on the dollar?
Well, again, I'll just repeat, I think Geithner should be held accountable, and I think Bernanke should be held accountable. And let's not forget Secretary Paulson. He was part of this mix as well. I think the government should be held accountable for a decision to give $85 billion to AIG and not tell the American public why.
Hal, thank you very much for joining us. We've been speaking with Hal Scott, professor at Harvard Law School and director of the Committee on Capital Markets Regulation, about AIG, the emails, and what's going to happen to Tim Geithner.